But the next topic we're going to be talking about is actually very important to a decent amount of people because a lot of people use it. It's the future of prop trading, and it ties into the SEC. So this is very new and recent things, stuff that's been going on. So JP, if you can just elaborate further about what's
Yeah,
going on.
so we one of our buddies is in here as well, Randy, who is also has been diving into this a bit. But over the past couple of days, I've been talking in depth with Kevin about some of the things that are happening in the proprietary trading space. Um, Point blank and simple. Um, let's call proprietary trading desk what it is. A proprietary trading desk is a real trading desk at a major institution where traders trade. Proprietary trading is not Top Step, it's not Apex, it's not My Funded Futures. That's not a prop firm. That is a funding company. It's two completely different things. But what has happened is that the industry of the funding world has taken the proprietary terminology and made it into made common folk think that that is what they are when it's not. That's not what they are. And I wish Randy could unmute himself because he could add so much to this conversation. But what's happening is that um, in the past couple of weeks, the CME, which is the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, has decided that it is not in their best interest to have all of these funding companies using their data feed under simulation accounts. So they are now imposing that if you're a funding company, that you do everything within your power to get as many of those simulated accounts that traders are trading on into real live accounts because the CME wants to collect their data fee. And the data fee that you pay, right? Um, is $135 per month once you're sitting on a live account, right? And each particular sector of futures costs 135. So if you're going to trade Nasdaq and the Nasdaq and the S&P and let's just say the Russell, that particular data feed is 135. If you're going to trade oil, that's 135. If you're going to trade metals, it's 135. So right now, you're not, these funding companies are not forcing their traders to pay the CME fees, which is, is incredible if you think about it, right? Like you're getting this free feed, a real-time feed, and you're not, and the CME isn't making any money off of it. So what ended up happening was in the past 48 hours, and Top Step talked about it, but there's more to it. And luckily, our attorney used to be a compliance attorney at JP Morgan, the attorney for the business that Kevin and I have. Um, and he sent me a note that came across his desk. He now works at PricewaterhouseCooper, which is also the devil. um, and apparently the SEC has sent a memo to a substantial amount of funding companies, letting them know that they are going to have to register themselves as broker dealers, which is a big deal because right now these funding companies are not registered as professional broker dealers, right? So what does that mean? That means that if you are now going to become a broker dealer and you're now going to bring traders to trade on the proprietary desk of a registered brokerage, it doesn't necessarily mean that that trader has to be licensed at the current moment, but it's probably going to lead towards the live traders having to get a Series 3 license in order for them to trade on that proprietary desk. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, yeah. So just in case anybody doesn't understand what he's saying, he's basically saying, let's say, you could correct me if I'm wrong, JP. So if you get a live account, meaning you get funded, um, you would probably end up having to take a series exam to license yourself as a trader.
Yeah,
Am I
because it's
correct?
the National Commodities and Futures exam, right?
Yeah.
And
Which series exam is it again?
that's a Series 3. And you don't need
Okay,
any
okay.
prerequisites to take that test. It's just like the SIE. You can just study for it and pay to take it. But if you're going to become a registered broker dealer and you're going to move, let's just call him Steve, into a live proprietary trading account, that makes that individual a professional at that point. So therefore, he has to pay professional fees, right? And he's going to be registered as a professional trader. And it's my understanding that once you're in that professional setting, you need to be licensed. Not maybe not by you might not need a Series 7, but I'm assuming that you're gonna need a Series 3. I wouldn't even be surprised if they enforce an SIE, which is the Securities Industry's Essential Exam. You know what I mean? So I don't know how far the SEC can push this with with funding companies, but I think there's going to be like a huge shift in this space. And to be quite honest, um, I don't know what would be the point. I mean, think about it, right? Let's say that you're trading futures and you're with a company. Let's call it Company X. And Company X sends you an email saying, hey, we're going to move you up to our live team. And why the hell would I want to go to their live team? You know, yeah, sure, maybe at best you're going to get a 90-10 split where you're keeping 90 and they're keeping 10%. But like, if I'm such a great trader that I've taken advantage of the funding company space, why would I want to go trade on their proprietary live desk? Why wouldn't I just open up my own trading account where I'm going to be able to swing trade, where I'm going to be able to govern under my own rules? I'm not going to have compliance or risk management overseeing me. And I don't have to put myself in a weird situation where what happens if for some reason suddenly now I have to get licensed, right? And here's the other thing. So how how is that going to work, right? Because when you get moved to a live account on these funding companies, they're moving all of the money that you made and they're putting it into a live account, right? But then what happens if you take out $15,000 because you want to pay out? How are the taxes going to work? Like, let's say they move over 30,000 and you take out 15,000. Are you going to get taxed on the 30,000? Or are you going to get taxed on the 15,000 that you took out? You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense?
Yeah, yeah. And
Like how is that gonna work?
so I mean, with all these complications, do you think it's really gonna continue or pass with what they're sending out these memos for?
Well, the thing with me is just this, right? Like I'm not trying to be like the Debbie Downer here, but think about it. Why do I want to put myself through so much stress and trying to figure all of this crap out when ultimately at the end of the day I can just open up my own live account?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like
absolutely.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I I
I
think the
like I just think that all these new rules and regulations that are going to come into this funding space, it's I think it's gonna send a shockwave around that industry, and I think it's gonna push a lot of people away from this. Again, like, isn't the idea of trading on a funding company to take advantage of the loose rules? And now I'm gonna have to kind of, I don't know, how can I say this? I'm gonna have to like, I'm gonna have to trade even more scared. And again, my biggest thing is what's going to happen with the tax situation. Am I gonna get taxed on the 30? Am I gonna get taxed on the 15? Am I gonna have to get a Series 3 exam? Am I gonna have to get an SIE? Um, am I gonna have to register as a professional trader? Does that mean that I'm gonna have to register myself on TradingView as a professional trader? Am I gonna have to now call E-Trade and register my account as a professional trading account? Because now I'm trading at a professional broker dealer desk. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's all kind of weird. I don't know,
So
but
so the main
yeah, go
effect
ahead.
is going to be against live accounts, right? So people who get emailed and they're like, "Hey, you've been doing well. Let's move you to a live account." That's right.
Well, there's this whole thing now that they want to go direct to live, right? You pass
Wait,
if you
what?
pass the
Seriously? So you're saying you
yeah.
pass an account and they don't even give you a simulated PA account, they give you a live account?
What do you? I mean, if the CME is telling you we want to avoid these simulation accounts and we want to go direct to live, I mean, yeah, dude, it's
What?
and
I mean,
and
it's
that's
so
the other thing. Like, why would I give my if I and Steve passes my combine or my funding challenge, and now I have to move him to live. What am I gonna just like give him $10,000 of my own money so they can trade? Dude, I'm gonna go broke.
yeah.
It's a weird thing. You know what I mean? I don't know. To me, this entire space is gonna change, and it's I think it's gonna get really tricky. And for me, this whole, you know, if all of this really does happen, like it just sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah,
I'd
and,
just rather up my own futures account with $1,000, like some of the guys that we know have and trade micros than trying to have this headache of of all this drama. It's just it's getting to the point where I almost don't even want to know about it because it doesn't affect me. But I think it's important that people be aware of that because there's not a lot of people that have access to this information and then they find out late. Because there could be people right now that are trading on some of these evaluation accounts and they think they're gonna get funded or they hopefully they do and then they think they're gonna get a payout and hopefully they do, but then something happens and suddenly they just wasted all this time and then they feel like they just got slapped in the face and I don't want to see that happen to people. You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, the sorry, I have to step away for a second, but the thing that I think a lot of people have a misunderstanding of is actually how easy it is, and we're not going to recommend anything. Obviously, everybody has their own situations, but it's actually really not that hard to open up your own account and fund them. We've had people who done it, like JP said, like Randy, one of the guys who's in the live session right now. Like he funded his own account, and it is definitely nerve wracking a little bit, or harder because it is your own money, and if you don't size right, then the leverage is gonna work against you very very quickly. But sometimes using strategies such as like micros instead of minis, you can potentially grow an account, and you don't have to be stuck to all the dumb rules that the funding accounts have. I actually made a video a while back on why I think prop firms are one of the worst things you could possibly get into, and it's not just it's multiple things, right? It's the whole point that the way I think about things is I don't think about the present, I think about the future. And when you trade a prop firm, majority of the times, it always leads you to think in a very degenerate manner, right? You're gonna find yourself trading a lot more than you used to. You're gonna just find yourself sizing a lot more than you used to, and you're gonna find yourself doing a lot more dumb trades because you want to take a chance or a risk, right? And then here's the thing, let's just say one day prop firms goes away, or let's just say you move into options. All those habits are going to carry over, and you're going to be astonished at how wrecked you're going to be, because when you go over to options or even shares, like with options, you're going to face volatility. With options, you're going to face gamma, and delta, theta, and then with shares, you're going to be facing, volatility or no volatility. So it's there's a lot of downsides to prop firms, and I think with what JP talked about, it kind of sets a little bit of an edge of, hey, should I, if I'm doing this, should I be looking elsewhere? What are my other possibilities, right? Whether that be shifting over to stocks or options, or if you really want to stick to futures, opening your own account is things you would definitely want to think about. And that's the most important thing. You just don't want to go with what's good, right? You want to go with what's good for you. And when you do that, you can find yourself in situations that you're prepared for, or that that you thrive in. Um, like I definitely suggest, I definitely think it's great for you to check out that video on our YouTube channel. It's called like why I think prop firms, something something. Let me see. I could find it right now.
So,
Uh,
so I actually just found the article that was posted. Um, I'm not gonna put it in chat because it's from a law firm, and I don't want to advertise in any way, shape, or form. But I actually just read the entire note that came from the SEC, and now I understand why it is that they're freaking out. So I'm going to read this to you. On February 6, 2024, the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, adopted new Rule 3A5 4 and 3A 44 2. Under the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, the Exchange Act that effectively broadens the scope of persons considered to be dealers or government security dealers. Proprietary trading firms and private funds that are deemed dealers or government security dealers under the rule will face significant impacts. They will be required to register with the SEC and FINRA, become subject to the Exchange Acts and SEC and FINRA rules, for example, net capital requirements, and subject to examination and investigations by the SEC and FINRA. The
when it comes to futures
compliance
versus
date,
op.
the compliance date for the new rule is 12 months from the effective date, which is 60 days after the publication in the Federal Register. So that means that 12 months from February 6, 2024, the new rules go into effect, which is why Top Step is changing their rules now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, absolutely, man.
So that's I'm gonna go ahead and just copy paste this paragraph, and I'm just gonna just a paragraph, and I'm gonna put it in main chat so you guys can read it, so you guys are aware of what I'm talking about. So now we actually know why it is that all these people are changing their rules. And you see, this is the benefit of having these conversations on a Saturday or whenever it is that we do it, because I bet you that 80% of the people in this room had no idea this was happening.
I didn't know. I freaking I got called like I called JP today and like, oh, okay. So what are we gonna talk about? You want to talk about how to how to trade under an LC? He's like, oh yeah, that's perfect. He's like, oh, nothing we'll talk about is this proper and things. I'm like, what? And he told me this. And I was like, oh, great. Okay, cool. So that's definitely something we have to talk about. But yeah.
But yeah, so it looks, in my opinion, if you're gonna trade futures, just at this point, because of all this crap that's happening, just open up your own account.
Yeah, dude, like I can't tell you how many people, and this ties in. So on my screen, I have our YouTube channel. If you scroll down, this video right here, why prop firms could be bad for you. Um, a lot of people resonated with the points that were given, and one of the points that were given is, your time is your value, right? How many times have you just, I know people who spend so much time on their account, and they either blow it, but let's say they don't blow it and they get a funded account and they trade it, and then they're like, oh, I'm gonna get a payout, and then they get rejected by something, right? It's just a complete waste of time, which you could have used to trade either, let's say, your own money or be learning stuff that's more beneficial to you. Um, this video that I have on here, you could watch it if you want. I think it's personally important to watch. Um, it just dives into the bad habits that you get from it, and also the amount of time you could possibly waste doing it. But again, thanks JP for talking about that. Um, was there any last things you want to say about that, JP,
No,
or
that's
should we
it.
move
It
on to
just
questions?
gives everybody, if you want to see the main chat, that's where that article is, that paragraph. And
Yeah.
that's about it. You know?
We have one question. You guys could start posting your questions in the Ask Us chat about anything. We'll go over them and then we'll call it a wrap. But Betty asked, would it mean anything to the market? Maybe there would be less prop traders and reduce the volume and something like that. Before JP answers, I
I
don't
don't
think so. Uh,
know. I think
yeah.
that the internet trading community accounts for maybe 1% of the volume.
It's not gonna really affect it that much. I mean, you're talking about most of the accounts are simulated, so they're not even trading actually the futures. So even if you remove everybody, let's say prop accounts were non-existent, you're not talking about like a huge change in market movements. The past year that we have, from all the way last year August to now, the market the way it's been, it's how it was 5 years ago. So it's not like it's a new market, with the whole fact that prop firms is becoming more popular. So it's not going to be a huge difference if they're gone. Yeah. You guys can feel free again to ask questions in the Ask Us chat. I know there was a question up here. Let me try to find it. So I'm gonna. Someone asked, may I ask what makes you decide to enter a position as a long term or as a swing? I saw you entering the same position both as a long term and a swing, while others just as long term. So the easy question is, whenever I enter a long term trade, there's either two criteria. There's two things I'm either looking at. I'm either looking at the fact that I think this trade is gonna last a long time, and I want shares because of course shares are not affected by theta, or I think the trade is going to work out, but it's going to take some time, right? So if I think it's going to take some time, I don't want my contract being eaten up by theta and volatility crush, right? So I'd rather just buy shares and do that. If I buy shares and buy contracts, the reason I do that is, one, I'm buying shares because I think it's a great place to add long term, and two, I also buy contracts because I want to profit off of the volatility increase once the contracts move in my way. So that's my answer. JP, do you have anything to add on to that, or is it the same thing?
Oh, it's just like if I'm in a if okay, so like for example, Nike, like I have a bigger move on it that I want, but I want to get some immediate gratification on the trade. I'll take my long-term position and then just trade options for a quick day trade. So
Gotcha.
it's the same thing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Another question's on the target trade. It's most of its value. Why did you close it? Okay. So this question is basically asking. So for the long-term account, I had these target calls like an idiot before earning because I'm disappointed. I usually don't miss things like this, but I took target calls, I believe, Tuesday, November 12th, or somewhere around there. The reason I took it was just, target was just setting up on the daily to potentially run up, and my dumbass did not see that target had earnings on November 20th. So I bought leap calls, and I, merrily just let it sit through all this price action. It was even up at one point, and then lo and behold, one morning I wake up and I see the account like down a lot more than it should be. And I'm like, what the hell? And I see that my target calls are down 94%. And these were like January calls. They have a lot of time. Um, so the question is, let's say you're in the same situation and you get into long-term calls and they lose majority of their value. Why close them out? Why not just leave them? Yeah, sure, you can leave them, but what's the probability of the stock reaching anywhere close to 147, right? Probability is low, especially in the near term. So That's the reason I exited it. I also like I'm a person who likes keeping things very organized. When I keep things organized, I can easily be able to manage them. Right? If there's just another position on my screen, even though it's worth nothing, that's something that's clouding my entire portfolio. So that's why like if it's worth zero, then why keep it? Why keep it and just hope? Uh, that's just my whole mentality on it. There's no right or wrong answer on it. Um,
Can I
and
can I say something really
yeah,
quick
go ahead.
before I forget? Not related to anything you're saying.
Yeah,
So Hans said, no, not Hans. I'm sorry, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce your name. Sam Samhav Kali.
Sambhav
You know what?
Kalia. Um,
SK. That's your new name. SK. Um, Listen, I feel like the guys that are in in this room are like family because I see the same faces every Saturday for the most part, or every time we do this. Um, I know because of where I live, I've had a fantastic opportunity to meet people that I never thought I would ever meet. Um, I, Legendary traders, people that have been on CNBC and Bloomberg, people that they've written books about. I mean, guys that used to move billions of dollars in the markets, not millions, but billions. And one of our friends that's in here, Randy, um, he knows one of them because he jumps on some of the calls that we get on. And, Randy's one of our really close trader friends. And, you know, when I talk to these guys and I say, "Oh yeah, I bought a prop I bought a prop account." They ask me like, what?" And forgive me for being so rude, but they're like, "What the fuck is a prop account? What the fuck is a prop firm? What's a funding company?" You know, I don't know any institutional size trader or big trader that has any idea what a funding company is. They have no clue. When you ask, do you think if someone is a big trader, then it's better for them to open up their own account and trade futures? Listen, I have no problem saying this. The guy that's my mentor that Kevin and Randy know, that's one of my big influences. He constantly tells me, and I quote, because he's from New York, why the fuck are you spending $100 to make $3,000 of fake money? Are you retarded? You know, literally. So if you're a big trader, you know, I don't think there's any big trader trading prop. I think that what we see on YouTube and TikTok and all this crap, you know, all these guys fund accounts, they make a lot of money, they make a lot of payments, they get paid a lot of money, which is God bless them. No one is denying their profitability, but they're also buying a lot of accounts, right? And the difference between these internet traders and professional traders is that if you're sitting at the proprietary trade desk at UBS and they give you a $10 million account because you're trading $10 million of the bank's money and you lose $10 million, you're getting fired. you're, and you're not working anywhere ever again, right? And you can't blow an account at a real proprietary desk. You just can't because you have risk is sitting behind you, and they have a limit on you. So if you're down, let's say you're down 50,000 for the day, they're shutting your system off and they're telling you to go home. You know, so those are real traders, not the guys that you see on YouTube that, oh, I just blew 10 Apex accounts, but I got another 20 and I got paid out. These guys have one account with X amount of dollars in it, and that's how you trade. Not with 20 accounts that are linked up and are copy trading. That doesn't work like that. Like whenever I go visit my buddy Chris at Slatestone, And I mean, they're money managers. These douchebags are all sitting there and they're running their own book, their own portfolios, and those portfolios are, you know, 100 million, 50 million, 75 million, and they're trading their book, and that's it. Not there's not one trader trading seven different books. No, each individual trader or money manager has an allocated amount of money that he's managing for the company. So, yeah, I don't know. Sure, you made $100,000 this week or this month in payouts, but you blew 50 accounts to do it. Okay, well, I spent X amount of dollars to make 100 grand. In a professional setting, if you blew one account, you wouldn't have a job, right, Kevin?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just, it ties into the, is it really practical to be using a prop account? And I personally used it as well, but I've been successful with it, but I kind of steer away from it, slowly by slowly. It's just a waste of time for me. Um, but yeah, that's just my personal opinion, JP's personal opinion about it. Um,
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I I have no shame saying it. Like, I've found some success trading futures, not a lot. I I I have no problem admitting it. I've spent more money than I've made in payouts. It's just the nature of the beast because you just get in that habitual habit of like buying and buying and buying and buying and buying, and you go down that the doom loop,
yeah,
where you're just buying and buying and buying, and then you get a payout and you feel great about it. And you're like, oh my God, I got a payout, yay! And then you go look at your credit card statement and
negative
but
3,000.
the reality is that if you're trying to take this serious and you want to be a great futures trader, you would open up your own futures account and trade micros because you're going to take the best trade A plus setup because you don't want to lose your money. You don't want to lose the money that you've invested into your own futures account, right? Maybe you lose it, it happens, but at least you know that you're trading and it's your money. And if you make money, you're going to be able to touch your money as opposed to falling into these rules and regulations of that you can't get a payout until you meet certain criteria. Because that's just bullshit, you know? So yeah, it is what it is. But with all these new rules, you know what I like about this, Kevin? If all of these new rules do take effect, it's gonna make me happy to see a lot of these people disappear on TikTok that have been just giving TikTok, I'm sorry, and Twitter and Instagram and all that. They've just been giving bad advice because you
Oh
know
yeah.
that there's a lot of people that just follow a lot of people blindly, and that
Oh yeah.
we're all responsible for that. We've all taken other people's trade ideas because we think we get blinded by their success, but everybody, we all know that the best traders sit in the rooms by themselves and they put on their headphones and they just focus on one thing and they don't have any distractions and no one is telling them what to do, you know?
Absolutely. One of the things I hate and the whole reason we have the server, the live session one, is because, it's the sole purpose to fight misinformation when it comes to trading, and there's so many dumb hoax out there. So I wouldn't be feeling negative about it if it closes down. It'd be yeah. So the sorry. So the next question was, I guess my follow up question for the first part is, how do you know if the setup is gonna work out right away, or take versus taking some time? It depends on a few factors. It could mean it could simply be like, okay, is it at a strong level? Is it at a level, but it seems like there's no decent price action for you to be like, oh, I'm definitely bullish right now. So it's those kind of things that you have to kind of think about, right? Okay, do I see this going right now? Do I think there needs to be a better setup that I'm waiting for? Is those kind of questions I ask myself, right? So for instance, I brought this up because this is actually a stock I forgot to talk about. ASML. It's an important Dutch company, which is used by Samsung, TSM, and Intel. You can see here on the weekly chart, it's down a decent.
Semiconductors.
Huh? Yeah, semiconductors. Yeah, exactly. I forgot. Hold on, I'm gonna actually bring it up because it was very important when I talked about ASML when I posted on Twitter. Um, but basically, ASML is this Dutch company, and you can see it's been up 200% and it's down 41%. And the great thing is they're still relatively a very strong company. Like their profits are very good. They recently acquired Berliner Glass Group, so their profits are going to be a little bit even more diversified. So it's something that's great for shares, but also like to answer your question, right? You could see here we're bouncing off a fib level on the weekly. If you go to a daily, right, and you're like, okay, at this point, do I want to take options or shares, right? Um, Shares definitely because I personally see this having room to the upside. The next question is okay, is options viable? If you ask me on Thursday, I'd say yes. Just based off this candle, I'd be like, okay, all right, this has room to the upside. But based on Friday's candle, it's gone to like a 70-30 chance to now a 50-50 chance, which I wouldn't take. So if there's a good candle that comes on, let's say Monday and Tuesday, that's when I would be looking to buy call options, right? But if, just based on this, I know right away on Monday, unless of course, for some reason it just gaps down, I'm going to be buying shares of ASML and adding that personally to my long-term account. So hopefully that answers your question about the thingy. Not the thingy, but the whole shares and options thing. What kind of books have you guys read? As you guys know, I personally didn't have a mentor or watch any YouTube videos when trading. It was mostly observations, but I did read books. The proper books, I always get this wrong, and JP hates me for it, was written by Richard Wyckoff.
Wyckoff.
Okay, good. I got it right. So I can post that again in the link section. I'll just rename this channel to suggested material. So I'll post the books I read here. Are they great to read? They're good. Are they outdated? Yes, but if you're smart enough to be able to read what you read and then kind of interpret it, and then kind of adjust it to the current market, it could potentially help you out. Getting a better understanding of how price works and how the market kind of shifts on a day to day or a week to week or even a monthly to month basis. So I'll post that in the links channel, and yeah. I think there's a question for you because I have no idea what
Trading in
this
the
is.
zone. Trading in the zone. I read Trading in the Zone is great.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love Trading
Mark
in the Zone.
Douglas. Yep.
Yeah.
Um, so this might be a question for you because I don't know what this is. Do you think Lance Brystein is full of BS?
Who's
20.
asking? I don't. What do you mean?
Well, I feel like it's crazy because I'm 23, but I act like I'm 40. I don't even know the current stuff right now, so give me a second.
I don't even know who Lance Brystein is. I don't know who that is.
Top P&L. Okay, he said P&L, so I already know he's a hoax. Eight-figure trader. I turn great traders into greats. Okay, that's just
What is this? Is he like a? Is he? What
apparently
is
an
this?
advisor to S&B Capital. Um,
He's an advisor at SMB Capital. Listen,
or
I
he
know the
is.
guys at SMB Capital.
I might be
They
wrong. Hold
opened
on.
up an office in Miami. I I won't get into it, but like SMB Capital is one of the most legitimate proprietary firms out there. But as of late, it's starting to feel a little bit gimmicky. And I mean, the first thing I saw when I typed Lance Bernstein is Trader Lion, a simple setup that made Lance Bernstein millions of dollars. If this guy is at SMB Capital, then SMB Capital has really deviated from what they originally, uh, you know, started with. Because I love Mike Bellafury. I think he's awesome. I think he's great, but I don't know.
I
It
don't
is
know.
what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we personally don't know the guy. We've never heard of him. But if you say he acts like the best trader in the world and he said he made 1 million a day, usually those people have downfalls. I guess I hope the best for him, but uh, yeah, you always end up getting humbled in the end of the day. So, uh, yeah, I can sit here and I could tell you I'm the best trader in the world, but what is that gonna do? I'm just gonna be a dick about it. So
The
why say
best
that?
trader I know is my mentor, and he was the head of UBS
Yeah.
in 1987, and was responsible for the additional 3% collapse of the stock market, uh, and the stock market crash of 1987. Okay. And Kevin and Randy in here know exactly who that is. And that son of a bitch wasn't even making $1 million a day trading at UBS. Okay. So, yeah.
But yeah, we'll move on. We're gonna start wrapping up, so you guys can put in your final questions. So something High Five added, which is true. If you fund your own futures and link it to TradingView, you actually have real time on TradingView. Wait, hold on, I misread that. If you have real time on TradingView, do you need to also buy the real time with the broker in order to trade? I can't answer that question. I have no idea.
What do you, I don't understand that question.
No, so if you have trading views real time quota, right? So you purchase the Nasdaq thingy, right? The NQ and the ES. Do you also need to pay the subscription on the broker that you're using to trade futures? To trade futures. Did I just
So,
take away your last brain cells? You know what I mean?
so wait, so let's say that you open, okay, I think they're talking about integration here. So, E-Trade, for
Yeah.
example, or Morgan Stanley and Thinkorswim, you can open up a futures account there, but they're
Let's
not
just say trade away, because trade away is
Tradeovate.
going to be the number
No,
one
no, no.
place.
Well, Tradeovate is a completely different thing. Tradeovate,
Because you can't link Thinkorswim to this. I don't think so. Can you?
like for example, like
Some of
Thinkorswim
this.
and E-Trade Pro do not have any API connection to Tradeovate, to TradingView. So if you wanted live data on TradingView, you would have to pay for live data on TradingView to get the feed for futures. But if you're trading on a like I use E-Trade Pro, which is the closest thing to a Bloomberg terminal that I've ever seen.
Not
And
JP.
the
He's
only reason,
he's talking more about like trade evade, not
no, no,
like
but I understand that, but you can't, there's no link. So like if you open up your own Trade of Eight account, the Trade of Eight is not, see, is Trade of Eight, hold on a second.
there's things you have to pay on trade evade. It's just usually a prop firm pays it for you. So when you fund your own account, I think you have to pay for both. I don't know the answer to it.
That's such a good question because now I'm losing my mind here.
Oh God.
See, but why would you open up
Wait,
a
what do you
futures
mean?
account with Trade of Eight? Why wouldn't you
Why
just
wouldn't
open it
you?
up why wouldn't
Trade
you just
evade
open it up with your brokerage firm?
because
Like your
trade.
broker, you
I mean,
know?
it's a lot easier to do trade evade. I mean, of course, for you it would be a lot more reasonable to do, let's say, E-Trade, right? But you're
Yeah, well,
used
I
to the
used to have a
platform.
futures account on E-Trade years ago, but I closed it because I
Yeah.
blew $500 in a day.
Well, I mean, I guess the simple answer to what you're saying, JP, is like, I mean, most of the days right now, people are more used to platforms like Tradeovate, and it's just a lot more easier, I guess, to set stuff up.
You
So
see, I'm an ignorant fool. I didn't, okay, so Trade-Evade is like, if Trade-Evade functions as a broker.
yeah, it is yeah, it's a
It's the
broker.
broker. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, so it's a broker. Okay.
yeah. So I mean, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, let's just say cautiously. Let's just say you have to pay for both. I'm not exactly sure what the answer is. Oh wait, hold on. So he's gonna be using IBKR, not Tradeovate. So you can actually link IBKR to this. So I'm not exactly sure. I can't answer that question for you, unfortunately. I don't think JP can either.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's something. I don't know how the customer service is at for IBKR, but it's definitely something you should ask them. Because you definitely want to make sure you have the right time for that. Um,
Should we
okay.
just wrap it up here? Because we've been on for 7:30, 8:30, 9:30. Holy shit. 3 hours again. This originally started as something that we were only going to do for an hour every weekend.
Yeah, crazy.
How the
Um,
hell, how the
uh,
hell did this become a 3 hour thing?
but apparently somebody said he doesn't have to pay for both. The broker's offering you data. So yeah, there's that.
Oh,
Um,
Brandon said something. He said that he had been he what are my thoughts on SMB? I can answer that for you right now. Again, I love their YouTube channel. I think that what they're doing over there is incredible. I love their free content. They have great resources for trading. They actually have like teaching tools, which is really, really, really cool. And they have great content. I personally love them, but if they're hiring people like this guy, Lance Bernstein, whatever it is, to be part of their SMB Capital team, then I have to question what they're doing over there because I really like Mike Bellafury. Like I'm telling you, I think he's great. I think he's awesome. I like everyone that's over there, and I forget what's the name of the guy that is his business partner. It's the Mike's business partner is the guy with the glasses. What's his name? Um, the guy has like blonde hair, nice guy. He always talks about like really like impactful trading things. Whatever. I like him. I have nothing against him, but again, I hope SMB Capital maintains their level of what is it when you maintain
integrity.
your integrity and not get into this whole like hiring these like ICT dudes. Anthony asks something. Have you ever heard of Jex gamma exposure? I use that every day for my trades. Literally, we have uh we have software that we use, Kevin and I, where we look at gamma exposure all the time for our options when we trade them and our stocks as well.
S&B Capital. I keep on seeing those ads on my YouTube. It's funny. Um, but yeah, I think we're going to. I yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
I mean, before we go, because Anthony now got me on a bad tip, on a he's talking about something that I love, so let me just put something really quick in the chat so he can see what the type of gamma exposure that we use. Um, I'm just gonna post this and just download the picture of whatever. Give me a ticker symbol. AMD.
Uber. Okay.
I already got it. You suck. Hold on. Anthony, I'm just getting the gamma exposure for AMD right now on the software that Kevin and I use, and I'll send it to you so you can see what we see. The problem is that sometimes this thing's delayed. Let me see if I can just pull something one that we already printed. Oh, here we go. Save image, and let me just put it in here. How do I upload this image into the chat here? Do I just attach it?
Really, JP? Yeah.
Upload file. Here you go. Anthony, it's inside of the
Do it in main chat.
damn it. I'll go to main chat. Here it is. Um, this is the type of the gamma exposure software that we use, and this is the printout that we get for Jex. So whenever we're taking trades, we're looking at this to get an understanding of where there's possible gamma squeezes But if we start talking about gamma right now, we're never going to go to bed because we can explain negative gamma and positive gamma and how that affects options trading. A lot of people don't understand what gamma is and how gamma works and how it prints because people don't understand that when you sell calls, when you're selling calls and you're shorting, you're creating negative gamma, and they don't understand what negative gamma and positive gamma is in that sense. So yeah, we can talk about that another day. If you ever guys
Yeah,
ever
I
want
was
to talk
gonna
about
say.
gamma, one day we can talk about it. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. Maybe we
Oh
could do
yeah, yeah,
that
we
next
100%,
week.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's been 3 hours and 11 minutes or so. So um, it's been great talking to you guys. I think the topics we talked about was very important, especially the second one about the prop firms. I think that's a lot of people are going to
You
be
know what? Does
affected by
anyone
that.
here trade on prop firms? That'd be a good question to ask before we end the night. Like, can you guys like on the on the main chat or whatever chat it is? Like, are you guys trading and have you guys had success with it? I'm curious.
I've only used I've personally only used Apex. No, I used Apex. I used what's it called?
See, this is the answer that we get all the time. Yeah, but have not been overly successful. Like, that's the
Yeah.
same thing. Would you say that you spent more money? Would you say you spent more money trading prop than what you've made?
I
I'm
mean,
curious. There's a lot of people saying, yeah, spent more than made for sure. And I'll end it with this. Do you guys feel like do prop accounts make you feel bad when you lose them? Like, do you guys feel like you suck? Like, does it
dude,
lower your
yeah.
self-esteem or like does it lower your overall confidence level? Or is it just like, whatever, I'll just buy another one. Like, does it affect you? Does it heavily affect you?
JP, it's definitely the first one, for
You
sure.
think so?
Yeah, cause a lot of people always reach out to me, and it's the same dumb shit. Like, that's the whole reason why I made the why our prop firm's bad for you thing, because everyone would always be literally tell me they're giving up on trading just because they bought like 10 accounts and they blew all 10 accounts, and it's just like you get the same email over again, like, oh, sorry, but we took away your account, or sorry, your account was breached and all that. And of course, it's going to be demoralizing. And that ties in, like, again, I really think you guys should watch that video. You can use my monotone voice to fall asleep because I'm pretty boring when I talk, you could say, with my monotone voice. But it's something you could watch, and you'll see, like, the things I speak about. If you really think about it, that's things you've thought and it's affected you in some way. It's just dumb, man. I mean, there's like literally Apex, right? Apex is a prop firm I've been using for years. That's the one not years, but a year, yeah, years actually. And that's the one I
It's
started
been
off
years.
with.
It's been years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're literally called Apex. I mean, that literally, Apex Predator is what literally their whole business is. They prey on all the traders that use it, majority of them. So, if you do use it and you're finding success, of course, I'm happy for you. We're both happy for you. But it's maybe time to focus on things in the future. Because, I mean, you guys have seen there's so many prop firms that went down. You got, what was the big one? JPTFT. Then you had Surge
Surge, remember?
Trader. Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
we were the first ones. Remember with Surge, we were
Yeah.
gonna be here's a fun fact, a little Easter egg for you, all of you. Kevin and I and our other business partner, we were the first collective group of people that were engaging with Surge Trader. We had a meeting with the CFO. I was wine and dined in Miami for
Oh, lost JP.
and how they were going to revolutionize the game to later have this company be nothing more than a Ponzi scheme, you know?
Yep.
And we almost created a very heavy affiliation with them. Like it was going to be a lucrative affiliation for both of us, but something stopped us from doing it, and we didn't follow through. Remember that, Kevin?
Oh yeah, I do. I'm glad. Um,
Yeah.
I don't want to be associated with any prop firm.
No,
Screw
no,
that.
no.
That's just like I care about my brand. My brand image is very important to me, so I'm not associating myself with things like that. But yeah, I could literally sit here for hours talking about why
Yeah,
people
right.
shouldn't trade prop
Let's
firms.
wrap it
But
up here.
yeah, so again, a pleasure talking to all of you guys. I hope what we talked about was very important to you. If not, then I hope you find what you find important. Next week, we're not decided on what topics we're going to talk about. Maybe you can go into Gamma. Maybe we'll talk about something else. But there's, there is a channel called Live Ideas. You can always go there and talk about the things you want to be talked about, right? Not just simple questions, but like actual topics that could be expanded on.
Yeah,
Um,
and if you guys ever want to
so
reach out to us directly, just send us a message. We're always around and happy to, shoot the shit and talk about trades and stuff like that. We eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff, and we're always happy to talk about charts and all the stupid squiggly lines and candles.
yeah, the green and red candle green and red button that we hit so furiously every minute during the
Well, I
trading
mean,
day.
I changed my
Yeah.
candle colors years ago to gray and green. What is it?
Oh no,
Gray.
I'm talking about like buying and selling an option. I use
Oh God.
Thinkorswim. Yeah, I use Thinkorswim, so the thing is always green or red. But
Dude, that's so tormenting. You can change the color on E-Trade Pro,
uh,
but it's just like at that point, it's just like if it's red, if the option goes against you and it's red, it doesn't matter what color it is. It could be red, yellow, whatever it is. If it's not green, it's just forget it. It's bad.
dude, I know. Oh, all right, I'm gonna go eat some chicken biryani. It's dinner time for me. It's
Yeah,
JP's
I'm gonna
bedtime.
go. I'm gonna take 75 milligrams of melatonin and go talk to, dead people in outer space, whatever. All right,
I'll be
I'm out
there.
of here.
All right, see you guys. Pleasure talking to
Talk to you
you.
later.
See you guys
Bye.
next week. All right, peace.